Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tamim bil khair. Before we start the exercises of the lesson, I think it's a good opportunity for us to complete some of the more categories of feminine. As we have learned that every noun in Arabic is masculine until we prove it to be feminine. And we have learned three categories already, that if the noun is the real gender, al-mu'annathu al-haqiqiyu, that has a female counterpart, for example, humans and animals. For example, ummun, as we know, is the feminine of abun, and similarly, farasun is the feminine of hisanun. So we have learned about this, al-mu'annathu al-haqiqiyu. This is just a review. And then words ending with ta marbuta, for example, baqaratun and jannatun. And we have also learned that the human body parts that are in pairs, they are also feminine, like ainun and yadun. Even if it is one or two, it will be feminine. And today, inshallah, we add two more points to these categories. The fourth one is the names of countries and cities. So also the names of countries and cities are feminine, like Makkatu and Misru. So whenever we talk about Misr, it will be feminine. Similarly, any other country, Al-Hind, Al-Pakistan, America, Almania, any other country that we talk about, it will be feminine. Also, you can notice over here that they do not have tanween. So that means that the names of the cities and the countries, they are feminine. That's number one. And number two, they do not accept tanween. That means they are partially flexible, yani mamnu min as-sarf. So the names of the cities and countries are feminine, and also they are mamnu min as-sarf. And the fifth one is the most amazing thing that you will learn in Arabic language. And inshallah, after learning this rule, your understanding of the Quran will be increased by 20%, inshallah. So what is this category? Something very special. The plural of irrational beings, غير عاقل. Now, I'm sure that you remember that we have learned that there are two categories of the makhluk, of the creations. We have aqilun and غير عاقل. So do you remember for the aqilun, which one are the rational beings? They are, yes, please, humans and angels and jinns. Excellent. So human, angels and jinn, excellent. They are aqil. And the rest of the creations, all of them are غير aqil, yani they are irrational beings. So how do they become feminine? When we talk about the plural of irrational beings, it becomes feminine. For example, here we have kutubun, and as we know that kutubun is the plural of kitabun. Kitabun means a book, and kutubun means many books. And similarly, we have jabalun, and we know that the plural of jabalun is jibalun. So we know kitabun is masculine and jabalun is masculine. But when we talk about kutubun and jibalun, then it becomes feminine. It becomes what? Feminine. No, duals, no. Duals will remain masculine. It's a very good question. There is a question, what about the dual? For example, kitabun wa kitabani, two books will be masculine. Jabalun wa jabalani will be masculine. Similarly, we have qalamun and qalamani, it will be masculine. Only the plural of irrational beings, al-jama', as we can see over here, it will be singular feminine. Okay, so now we can see over here, for example, we have kitabun, and as we know that these are غير عاقل, yani they are irrational. So kitabun is masculine. How do we know it's masculine? Because it does not belong to any of the categories that we have discussed so far. It does not have any female counterpart. It does not have ta marbuta. And similarly, it's not the name of a country or a city. So that means it is masculine. However, when you look at the plural of kitab, it is kutubun, and then it becomes feminine. So as we can see over here, kutubun will be feminine. Qalamun is masculine and aqlamun will be feminine. Now let's look at some of the examples over here. For example, we say hadha kitabun. This is a book. But when you want to say these are books, we will say hadhihi kutubun. Now look at the difference in Arabic and look at the difference in English. In English, we have to translate as these are books. We have to use the plural form, right? But in English, it becomes hadhihi, and we know that hadhihi is used for singular feminine. So it's as if it is like this is a book. For example, it looks like that, but it is not like that. It will be hadhihi kutubun. The translation will be these are books. Similarly, hadha qalamun, and this is a pen, and when we say the plural of qalamun is aqlamun, so we will say hadhihi aqlamun, and these are pens. What if the word is already feminine? For example, kalimatun, we know that kalima is also irrational. Similarly, jannatun is also irrational. It's ghayru aqil. So this is already feminine. Then what happens? The rule is the same. It is feminine because it has ta marbuta, and also it will be feminine because it is the plural of ghayru aqil. So it will be hadhihi kalimatun. So we say hadhihi kalimatun, and this is the word, and also we will say hadhihi kalimatun. These are words. And now the English translation tells us that this is plural. But here in Arabic, if you see, we have hadhihi over here and hadhihi we have over here. Why do we have hadhihi over here? Because we know hadhihi is subject and kalimatun is predicate. And we know that subject and predicate are equal in gender. So this is feminine and this is also feminine. Now here, hadhihi, we know that this is subject and kalimatun is predicate. Okay, hadhihi is feminine. What about kalimatun? Kalimatun is also feminine. And now it is confirmed that the subject and predicate are equal in two things, at least two things, gender and number. So here, kalimatun is considered as singular feminine. It is considered as singular feminine. Yeah, it's a very good question. There is a question. It says, why not use ha'ula'i for plural? We will use ha'ula'i for plural for aqilun. For what? Aqilun. For example, hadha mudarrisun, ha'ula'i mudarrisuna. Hadha muslimun, ha'ula'i muslimuna. So for aqil, please remember, for aqil, we will use ha'ula'i. But for ghayru aqil, as you can see over here, very clear, for irrational, when you talk about the plural, it will be considered as singular feminine. So is this clear now? So that's why, because kalimatun is feminine and it is irrational, it is not a human being, it is not a jinn, it is not an angel. And similarly, the plural is kalimatun, so both of them will be feminine. I hope it's clear now. So now we okay, so here we have, as you can see, we move back to the exercise and we try to complete the exercise over here. And these are girls. Yes, ha'ulai fatatun. Yes, please remember that if it's the plural of humans, then it will be considered as plural of humans. So it is regular. We will say ha'ulai fatatun. These are girls, okay? But if you have singular feminine, only then we have to see that if you have the broken plural of ghayru aqil, then yes, ghayru aqil, only then we will say it is treated as singular feminine. Iqra waktub, read and write. So yes, with me please. So we say hadhihi madrasa tun, hadhihi madrasatun. Excellent. And watilka jami'atun. So these are simple sentences. Hadhihi subject, madrasatun is predicate, and we know that hadhihi is used for something that is near, and tilka is used for something that is far, and we say tilka jami'atun, that is a university. Dhalika himarun, that is a donkey. Watilka baqaratun, and that is a cow. So we know that himar is masculine, so we use dhalika, and we know that baqaratun is feminine, that's why we use tilka for that. Adhalika masjidun, is that a masjid? La tilka madrasatun. No, that is a school. And we know that is used to ask a question, and after that the answer will be either yes or no. So in this case the answer is no. La tilka madrasatun, that is a school. Hada jamalun, this is a camel. Watilka naqatun, and that is a she camel. So as we know that jamal is masculine, so we say hada, and for feminine we say tilka. And we know that hada is used for something that is near, and tilka is used for something that is far. Hadihi madrasatun watilka talibatun. This is a school, and that is a student, feminine student or female student. Hada kalbun, this is a dog. Wadhalika qitun, and that is a tomcat, because qitun is used for masculine. Hada, and now please, we need to be like all the time when we are doing exercises, and the sheikh will always give us a different sentence, most likely in the end, so that we are like in a flow and we are putting like just like tanween everywhere, and all of a sudden we have a different construction. And we can see over here, this is mudaf ilayh, so we will say hada baytul muadhani, because we know that mudaf is marfu, and mudaf, or it can be marfu, mansub, or majroor, but mudaf ilayh is always majroor. And tilka hadiqatu tajiri, and that is the garden of the merchant. So these are the small things that we need to be very careful about. Similarly, we can see that hada is subject and baytul muadhani is predicate. And similarly, tilka is mubtada'un and hadiqatu tajiri is khabarun. Basically, hadiqa is khabar, and hadiqatu tajir is mudaf ilayh. And please follow on. The page is page number 40. So I'm following the pages that we have from the books. So whatever books you have from the Medina Arabic books, whether you download from the internet or you buy them, they will have the same page number and they will have the same exercises. Ashir, ashara, yushiru, isharatan. Does someone remember the meaning of ishara? Ismul ishara, right? Demonstrative pronoun. So ashir, that means to point. So that's why we say isharatun wa musharatun ilayhi. Ashir ilal kalimati, and we know that ila is harf jar, it's a preposition. So that's why after that the noun will be majroor. Al kalimati al atiyati, point to the following words. Bismi isharatin lil ba'id, by using demonstrative pronoun for long or far distance. So for example, we have to use dhalika or tilka, and we know that dhalika and tilka are used for far distance, distance that is ba'id. Okay, ummun. So what should we use for ummun? Dhalika or tilka? Quickly, please. Ummun. Tilka ummun. Excellent. Why? Because ummun is a al-mu'annath al-haqiqi, the real gender. Abun. So we will say dhalika abun. Excellent. Qalamun. What do we say? Dhalika qalamun. There is a pen. Excellent. Mil'aqatun. Spoon. Mil'aqatun. It has ta marbuta, so that means it is feminine. What do we use for feminine? Tilka. Excellent. So we say tilka mil'aqatun. Ainun. Yes, please be careful. Ainun. I. Tilka ainun. Why do we say tilka ainun? Because it's a human body part that is in pairs. We have two eyes. So that's why for the pair we will say tilka ainun. Hajarun, stone. So we will say dhalika hajarun. Excellent. Qamisun, a shirt, and we will say dhalika qamisun. Qidrun. Again, be very careful. Qidrun. What should I use? Dhalika or tilka? Quickly. Tilka. Excellent. Tilka qidrun. Why tilka qidrun? Because qidrun is also feminine in Arabic, and we have learned about it in the previous lesson. Nafidatun. So we will say, yes, miscellaneous. Excellent. So nafidatun, we will say tilka nafidatun. Perfect. Why? Because we know that it ends with ta marbuta. Baqaratun. So what do we say? Tilka baqaratun. Why we say tilka? Because it ends with ta marbuta. Maktabun, desk or office. So we will say maktabun. What about maktab? Dhalika. Excellent. Maktabun. Naqatun, female, or we should say she camel. Naqatun. So we will say tilka naqatun. Excellent. Muhandisun, an engineer. So muhandisun, we will say dhalika muhandisun. What if I have muhandisatun with ta marbuta? What will I say? Muhandisatun. So I will say tilka muhandisatun. Excellent. Mu'adhinun. Mu'adhin, the one who calls for prayer. Mu'adhinun. So we say dhalika mu'adhinun. Excellent. Then we have mumarridatun. That means female nurse. Mumarridatun. So what do we say? Tilka mumarridatun. Okay. What if we have mumarridun? We have dad over here without ta marbuta. Mumarridun. So we say dhalika mumarridun. Excellent. Sarirun, bed. Sarirun. So what should we use? Dhalika or tilka? Dhalika sarirun. Excellent. That is a bed. Hadiqatun, garden. What should we use? Dhalika or tilka? Tilka hadiqatun. That is a garden. Perfect. And then we have talibatun, a female student. So we will say tilka talibatun. That is a student. What if I have talibun, a masculine student? So what should I say? Talibun. We say dhalika talibun. Excellent. So now you need to practice like this. Okay. Try to change masculine into feminine, feminine into masculine, and try to change asma'ul ishara. Jamalun, a camel. So we say dhalika jamalun. That is a camel. And battatun, duck. So we say tilka battatun. That is a duck because it has ta marbuta. Very good. Al-kalimatu al-jadidatu, the new words, okay. Al-mumarridatu, al-mumarridatu, if you remember, I've just translated it. The female nurse. Al-hadiqatu, the garden. Al-battatu, the duck. Then we have al-mu'adhinu, the one who calls for prayer. An-naqatu, the she-male the she-camel, in fact, yeah. And al-baydatu, the egg. Al-baydatu, the egg, only one egg. Okay, so here is a summary of what we have learned so far. Asma'ul isharati lil qaribi. So this is a summary over here. We have hadha, and we know that hadha is used for mudhakkar, masculine. So we say hadha Muhammadun. And similarly, and this is used for something that is near, right? And if it is feminine, then we say hadhihi aminatu. And this is for the feminine, for near. And then we have asma'ul isharati lil ba'idi, and then we have asma'ul ishara for something that is far away. So for the masculine, we say dhalika hamidun, that is Hamid. And if we have a feminine, we say tilka Zainabu, that is Zainab. And this is of course for far. So hadha hadhihi and dhalika and tilka. And the Sheikh has beautifully introduced us to these, asma'ul ishara from the beginning of the book. And now we have completed asma'ul ishara for singular, for only singular, al-mufrad, okay? And inshallah, then we will do for the plural and also for the dual. So we have to remember that these are only used for the singular masculine and singular feminine. Now we have some examples here from the Quran, examples of irrational ghayru aqil from the Quran. So we have the word haddun, a limit, and we know that haddun is masculine. Why is it masculine? Because it does not have any of the categories. It does not belong to any of the categories of feminine that we have learned so far. But hududun is feminine. Why hududun is feminine now? What happened? Because it is the plural of ghayru aqil. Had is ghayru aqil, right? So that's why it is hududun is feminine. Similarly, ayatun is feminine by default because it has ta marbuta. And similarly, the plural of ayat will be also feminine because it is feminine by nature or by itself. Now we have in the Quran, we have tilka hududullah. So now we can see here, we don't have dhalika hududullah or haula'i hududullah. No, what do we have? Tilka hududullah. These are the limits set by Allah Azza wa Jal. So tilka is subject and hudud is mudaf and ismul jalala is mudaf ilayh. So hududullah. And these are the limits set by Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay, now please be very careful when you looking at the translation in And these Asma'ul Ishara, they have different translations sometimes. And this is, inshallah, we will learn it with the passage of time, especially when we reach the third part, which is like first we are dealing with an-nahv, then we will deal with the sarf, and then inshallah the third one is the al-balagha, where it is rhetoric, yani the peak of the height of Arabic language. And then inshallah we will see like why it is translated as these and why not those. In everyday life, we will say tilka. If you say tilka aqlamun, you will say those are pens. Tilka kutubun, those are books. But when it is in the Quran, then we have to pay very special attention to the translation, and it is translated as these are the limits set by Allah Azza wa Jal. And similarly, we have tilka ayatullah. So again, we can see that ayat is mudaf and lafz al-jalala is mudaf ilayh. Tilka ayatullah. These are the signs of Allah Azza wa Jal. So yeah, it's a very good question. Why tilka in the Quran is used as these, translated as these and not as those. I've mentioned in the beginning, like when I introduced yourselves to the Asma'ul Ishara, I gave you a hint that sometimes Asma'ul Ishara will be used alternatively. For example, instead of dhalika in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will use tilka. And similarly in the Quran, sometimes instead of tilka in the Quran, we will say dhalika. And this is the usloob of the Quran. For example, in the beginning of Surah Baqarah, what do we have? Alif Lam Mim, dhalika al-kitabu la rayba fihi. So, but when you look at the translation says this is the book, which does not have any doubt in it. So as I said that inshallah, this is the very advanced level of the Arabic language, and inshallah one day when we reach that level, we will definitely come to know. As of now, you only need to pay attention to the Arabic part, and we should know that hudud is the broken plural, and that's why we have to use for that tilka. And similarly, ayat is the feminine, and we have to use ayat for ayat we have to use tilka. As I gave you the example in everyday life, the translation will be those in everyday life. But in the Quran, translation will be different. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.